You know that feeling when you finally sit down on the couch after a long day? You open up a streaming app and it honestly feels like it's reading your mind? I mean, you haven't even touched the remote, yet staring right back at you is the exact type of show you didn't even know you were craving. It kind of feels like magic, right? Or honestly, a little bit like they're listening to you. But the truth is actually much more fascinating, and yeah, a little more unsettling. So let's dive right into it. Welcome to this explainer, where we're going to pry open the black box of the recommendation machine. We're not just going to wave our hands and say, oh, it's an algorithm. No. We're going to break down exactly how platforms like Netflix and YouTube know what video to show you next and how they predict what you want to watch tonight, literally better than your own best friend could.
To kick things off, check out this staggering statistic. 80%. According to Netflix, 80% of what people watch on their platform comes directly from a recommendation, not a search. Just think about that for a second. You aren't going looking for that show came looking for you. For the vast majority of our viewing time, we're being entirely guided by a piece of software that has no eyes, no actual instincts, and absolutely no real idea of who you are as a person. So how on earth is it getting this right 80% of the time?
Well, to understand that, we first have to completely bust the biggest myth about these algorithms. Most of us just assume the system groups you with people of a similar age or in the same city and shows you what they like. But no, that is nowhere near the full story. See, there's a really fascinating contrast between what we say we like and what we actually do. Did you know Netflix actually ditched their 5-star rating system years ago? And the reason why is hilarious, because people lie. I mean, you might give a 5-star rating to some brilliant educational ocean documentary because, well, it aligns with who you want to be or it makes you feel smart. But what are you actually binge watching at 1 a.m. on a Tuesday? Yep, a trashy reality TV show. The algorithm learned incredibly fast to just trust the trash. Your stated opinions and your reviews, they don't matter nearly as much as your actions, because actions simply don't lie.
Which brings us to our next crucial concept. If they aren't listening to your ratings, what exactly are they listening to? Let's move to Section 1, the data trail, tracking every micro action. Every time you log in, the system is silently tracking and scoring a hyper-detailed record of your behavior. It tracks you on a microscopic level. It's not just watched or didn't watch, we're talking every single pause, every rewind, the exact second you bailed on an episode. It tracks if you're watching on your phone on a Wednesday afternoon versus your living room TV on a Friday night. It even tracks your hesitation. Someone who scrolls endlessly for 8 minutes before finally settling on a movie is behaving entirely differently than someone who opens the app and clicks instantly. All of these silent, invisible signals are being fed into the machine to build this constantly updating fingerprint of your viewing habits. It's not tracking your identity, but rather your behavioral patterns.
But here is where it gets incredibly complex. We always throw around the phrase, the algorithm, singular. But actually, scratch that. That's entirely wrong. It's not one algorithm, it's dozens of them, running at the exact same time. Instead of picturing one giant robot brain, it's a lot more accurate to think of a massive commercial kitchen. You've got dozens of highly specialized chefs at different stations, and they're all working on different parts of your meal, simultaneously. Okay, let's walk through how this master system actually coordinates all of this in real time. In step 1, you've got a system specifically figuring out your genre mood. It knows you usually want lighter content during a Tuesday lunch break, but you go for intense dramas on a Saturday night. But step 2? This is where my mind was completely blown. The system actually personalizes the thumbnail image you see to act as the absolute perfect bait. Netflix does not show every user the same poster for the same show. If your history shows you like dark thrillers, you might get a really moody, dark image for a movie. But if I love comedies, I might see a bright, funny scene from that exact same movie. Same content, completely different bait. The poster isn't just marketing, it's literally a personalized psychological experiment being run on you thousands of times a day. And finally, in step 3, the master system stitches all those outputs together to present your totally unique homepage.
So the crucial takeaway here is understanding the true goal of this massive machine, and this is a major paradigm shift. The algorithm is not trying to guess what you're going to enjoy the most. Not at all. It's trying to guess what you are most likely to press play on right now and keep watching. And those are definitely not the same thing. A cinematic masterpiece that you'd probably rate as your all-time favorite might be buried if the data shows you hesitate for 20 minutes before starting it. Meanwhile, some wildly mediocre show that you instantly click and just zone out to, that's going right to the top. Why? Because it is the safest bet to keep you engaged for the next 90 seconds. These systems aren't curators of quality. They are predictors of action.
Now, let's bring YouTube into this conversation. Because while they use a very similar foundation of tracking those microactions, they add a whole new layer to it. That brings us to Section 2, the YouTube twist, the unbroken chain.
See, YouTube's recommendation engine doesn't just care if you clicked. It's largely built around one single, completely dominant metric: watch time. The ultimate success for YouTube isn't just whether you like the video, but whether that video seamlessly led you to watch another one, and then another one, and another one. The whole goal is to keep the chain unbroken. This is exactly why you can sit down to watch a quick 5-minute tutorial on how to fix a leaky sink, and 90 minutes later you're somehow deep into a documentary about obscure niche hobbies. We've all been there, right? But here's why that really matters. When a platform optimizes purely for making you stay, it naturally gravitates toward emotionally intense, surprising, or outrageous content. Statistically, that kind of content glues people to the screen way longer than calm, balanced videos. The engine isn't designed to make you happy or informed. It's explicitly designed to make you stay.
So how does the system actually pull this off across billions of users? Where is the engineering brilliance, or maybe the dark magic, that ties it all together? Let's take a look at Section 3, the mathematical core, the giant spreadsheet. I want you to try and visualize every single user as a row in an unimaginably giant spreadsheet, and every single movie or video is a column. Now, because no one has watched even a fraction of what's available out there, almost all the cells in this grid are totally empty. The algorithm's entire job is just to fill in those blank spaces, and it does this by processing the behavior of hundreds of millions of people simultaneously to find hidden mathematical relationships. But interestingly enough, just throwing endless computing power at this giant spreadsheet isn't always the answer. Years ago, Netflix actually offered a famous $1 million prize to any team that could improve their recommendation accuracy by just 10%. Teams built these incredibly complex, heavy mathematical models. But when Netflix actually tried to use the winning solution, it barely moved the needle in the real world. Why? Well, because the extreme complexity made it too slow, and it just wasn't worth the computing cost. It turns out, precision isn't everything if the model is too slow to keep up with your changing mood. A simpler, faster model that can reread your emotional temperature in real time is vastly superior. To the machine, you are not a permanent profile. You're a constantly shifting target.
And that real-time tracking creates something engineers rely heavily on. They call it a statistical echo. The machine doesn't understand plot, or acting, or human logic at all. It just detects statistical echoes. If a massive cluster of users who loved a specific slow-burn thriller also happen to binge-watch an obscure foreign film, the system links them. It has absolutely no idea why they go together. It just knows the pattern holds true. This is exactly why you sometimes get eerily accurate recommendations that feel completely random. The machine just found your echo. On the flip side, it also explains why your recommendations get totally ruined if you do something unusual, like leaving the TV on for your kid. The system has zero context. It doesn't know you fell asleep or that you were just babysitting. It takes the action at face value and aggressively redraws your entire profile. Which leads us to a genuinely fascinating realization. The system doesn't know your childhood, your values, or why a certain movie touches your heart. It just has numbers, pauses, and probabilities. Yet, human behavior at scale is so incredibly patterned that this thin stream of digital data can predict our desires with startling accuracy. We really like to think our personal taste is sacred, right? Like it's a deep reflection of who we are. But to the machine, our taste is just a predictable behavioral pattern. So I'll leave you with this to think about. The next time your homepage lights up with the absolute perfect recommendation, ask yourself, is that show actually what you wanted to watch tonight? Or is it simply what the algorithm calculated you were least likely to resist? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.